father emailed and asked for advice for his daughter. His daughter played on a school team, which only lasted 6 to 8 weeks and is already finished. So she tried out for another team, I believe an AAU team, and the father wanted to know if that was a good decision to have her play on the AAU team, or should she simply work out on her own throughout the winter. So one of the reasons why he was concerned was because he characterized the team as being a bad team. It was a team that she had played on last year, and there were things about it that he didn't specify, but he characterized it as a bad team. So the question was, is it better to play on a bad team or to work out on one's own? And for the most part, I would say it's probably better to play. But that also comes with a caveat of, what makes it a bad team or a bad experience. Because there are some things that I wouldn't tolerate or that would push me towards, working out on my own or, finding another team or something like that. But if, as he said, his daughter really wants to play on this team, so if it's bad because, they don't do the right drills or they use the wrong system or, maybe they spend too much time focusing on winning and not enough time focusing on developing skills and practice, things of that nature. But the daughter really, really wants to play, and maybe it's because her friends are on the team or whatever. Well, then to me, there's not a wrong reason to allow your daughter to play in that environment. It's not a bad thing. Playing some basketball is better than playing no basketball, and hopefully there's some exercise, some physical activity, and some potential skill development that occurs even in a poorly run practice. Now, if it's something where the coach is abusive or something where there's really negative behaviors or really a negative environment, and that's why it was a bad team, well, then I wouldn't put my daughter into that environment again. And all things being equal, depending on why she really wants to play on this team, I'd probably first look to see if there was a better team, and not in terms of a better team, win-loss record, but a better environment, maybe a better coach that focuses a little bit more on the things that I want a coach to focus on for my daughter, or that is more aligned with the philosophy that I believe is appropriate for my daughter, and try to persuade my daughter to play on this team, as opposed to the one that she's tried out for. But again, if all her friends are playing on this team and she really enjoys it, for a lot of players, especially at a young age like this child, the social reasons are really the reason why they're involved in sports, almost above and beyond anything else. Making friends, being with friends, spending time with friends, getting out of the house, avoiding schoolwork. These are all reasons why young children are signing up for sports. And there's obviously other reasons as well in terms of getting exercise, learning skills, getting better, love for the sport, trying to be future goals, things like that. But a lot of the reasons, have to do with being involved in a social environment, and a team environment, and especially with friends. And so that's why she wants to play. As a father, I'd allow her to, play on a suboptimal team if that's what she wants, and that's the environment that has her friends and that she's chosen for herself. Because I think that's also a big factor, is if she's really made this decision, hey, Dad, I want to play on this team, as opposed to a parent pushing a team onto a child, I think that's a big factor in allowing the child to make that decision as well. Because now the child's taking control of their own development, and their own, basketball career, for lack of a better term. And so they've taken ownership now. And so that helps to facilitate growth and development as that child gets older and gets into adolescence. And now that same ownership can then be used, to motivate them to work harder or practice more on their own, so on and so forth, so that they can, have the same ownership over their own skill development, and progress in the sport as they have for making this decision on which team they want to play for. So again, depending on why it was termed bad, and if it's kind of towards the abusive, then I would definitely say no. But as long as it's just kind of bad coaching or something like that that's fairly normal in youth sports because most youth coaches are volunteers and they aren't experts in the sports that they're coaching and they're not experts in coaching. So as long as it's just something along those lines, suboptimal practice drills, suboptimal team system, a little bit too much emphasis on winning, not enough on skill development. But that's where she wants to be. She's made that choice. Her friends are there. It's positive experience from that aspect. Then by all means, I would let her play. And would think that that would be a better experience and a better environment than simply practicing on one's own. But again, if there was an alternative that had some of the same type of social factors with maybe a little bit better coaching or a little bit better philosophy that aligns with my philosophy as a parent, maybe I would try to persuade her for that team. And if she was really resistant, then I'd probably stick with the original team that makes her happy and keeps her involved and motivates her to want to continue to play.